All right, y'all. We got another good episode. This is why this is my favorite version of the show. This is one of my favorite shows. Period. I love the games. But if you're new here, subscribe. Do it right now. I'm gonna be here all season. Do it right now. It's free of charge. Thumbs up the video while you're doing that. Get in the comments. Let me know y'all thoughts. Share the video. Y'all know the drill. But I'm not gonna waste too much time because I've been talking all day. If you don't already know, I dropped 4 recaps today. That I recorded today. So yeah, I'm trying to get off of here so I can stop talking. All right, y'all. So we get back where we left off, which is Charlie gone. And we got Kendall pretty much telling Garbi that he would have rather had gone home and made sure that she stayed. I don't believe that. Kendall's full of shit. He's always lying. You definitely want to still be here. But Garbi's like, I mean, I got to cut my nails off because like that shit was literally fucking me up in the challenge. What they stated, they need to start preparing for these challenges going forward, which y'all do. Like when it comes to these challenges, they need to start thinking of game plans, considering what they possibly could be doing, even though they don't know. But you know, you're going to have mental challenges, you know, you're going to have physical challenges. But Garbi gives him his props for remaining calm with her when I'm like, he was literally like, Garbi, like he was doing all of that. He wasn't calm with her. Like, wait, the one that was calm was Johnny. But they stated that they need to lock in and they'll get the next challenge. So we get KK in Soul Ties with Tyler Perry, and she ends up apologizing to him for Charlie leaving. As we all know, that's his boy from last season, even though they weren't even in the house together at the same time. But okay. But he's like, I mean, it's part of the game. She was like, I mean, I didn't want to send Garbi's man home, which is why I stood over there with Kendall. But he's sitting there smirking at her, stating that he just likes looking at her. And she says, like, same. I'm not getting any chemistry. Some of y'all say that y'all feel like he likes her. I personally don't see it. I don't see it. But we get Nicola and Isaiah. They're pretty much talking about them winning. They feel good. They're proud of them as a couple. She's proud of them as a couple. And she tells us that she likes him and wants to continue to get to know him. Foreshadow. But Tyrique and Johnny, they're having a conversation. I said America's worst nightmare, but my favorite one because that's what I want to see on this crazy ass show. But Johnny ends up, and I like the fact that they are cool right now, and I want it to be that way. I feel like they're setting them up. I feel like the producers want them to be like this, but I personally want them to be like this because the two of them working together, mess. But Johnny ends up asking how Tyrique feels about Andreina. And Tyrique's like, I mean, I wanted her to win and stay in the villa, but he then turns around and asks Johnny, how do you feel about Andreina? And it's clear y'all got history or whatever, some shit. And Johnny's like, yeah, I feel good. Like out of every girl here, I would have chosen her. Like she's the only one that I would have chosen at this point. And Andreina comes and pulls Johnny to chat. And Tyrique talking about some hola mi amor. And she's like, hi, Tyrique. He said, so no more Spanish? I said, please. But Tyrique walks over and hugs Justine, talking about lovely to meet you. She was like, where you been this whole time? And he was like, I was just talking to Johnny. And she's like, you over there wasting your time? Tyrique ain't making, look, he ain't wasting no time. He getting the business. Now, Johnny and Andreina, they go up to Soul Ties. Remember Tyrique told Andreina, this is our spot. Keep that in mind. But Johnny's telling Andreina that she scared him, like when they first was talking about her being down and shit. Like she was down, her not being her normal confident self, that kind of like scared him a little bit. And she was like, I mean, I overcompensate sometimes with my confidence to protect myself. And she said, like, put her guard up. But she was like, she was in her feelings, and she tells him that she loves him leading her. And she feels like she can trust him. And she says, like, I'll be fine now that we're in a couple together and everything happens for a reason. Andreina needs to trust Johnny to a certain extent. Because, like I told my sister watching this, I said, Johnny, like he did on season 1 of this show, any hot piece of ass walking up in there, he is liable to go get it. Even Andreina can get left when it comes to Johnny. So I'm like, you need to proceed with caution. But Andreina tells us that Johnny's the perfect man to win it with, and she's happy. But he then tells her that he didn't think that they would be on Love Island together and he'd come in and be like her superhero or whatever. But pretty much they end up kissing. So Tyrique and Tyler Perry, they're talking. And Tyrique tells him essentially like, me and KK talked. Again, Tyrique is open. He's blunt. He gonna tell you what happened. He ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. He ain't gonna hide about it because he moves the way he moves. So he's like, I mean, we were talking and stuff. We both talked about being open to still exploring other people. And we led to kissing. Like, I literally kissed her. He said that he kissed her, which is what happened. And he said, out of respect, I just felt like I needed to tell you that. Chris says that he appreciates it because she damn sure ain't say shit. I said, because she don't have to. Like, that is not your girl. She don't have to tell you that she out here kissing somebody if she is. Even though some people do that, but she don't have to tell you that. Honestly, she don't. Because you, in this situation in particular, you haven't given her anything to make it seem like you actually are genuinely interested in her. But we'll elaborate on that in a minute. But he then tells us, this is Chris. He tells us this is why he preaches about being here just for the game, because the minute he starts to like somebody a little bit, bullshit happens. I said, you ain't done nothing to prove to her or at least show her that you actually like her. You don't have to kiss her. You don't have to have sex with her. At the very least, you can at least cuddle her. You can give her some affection. You can show her that you actually like her. Sitting there smirking and smiling, you think that's doing something? Like, you've watched KK. You don't have to come in here and do what you know is a red flag, but you know who she is. You know what she likes because you've seen her season. But it's just like, she a woman too. It's just like, at the end of the day, Chris ain't doing nothing. Like a lot of people have been saying online, he likes a woman to chase him. That's what he wanted Shelley to do last season. That's kind of how he moving here. Like, you ain't really shown KK that you actually like her. If you do, in fact, I don't believe he does. Do I believe that he's attracted to her? Yes. Like, she's a beautiful woman. But I don't think that he likes her like that, for real, for real. But everybody's getting ready for bed. He's now telling Josh and Isaiah about what Tyrique had just told him. And Josh like, what? But KK, she's over there telling Justine about her options and stuff. She got Chris and she got Tyrique. And Johnny's telling Justine that if she would, because they in the bed now, and Johnny's telling Justine, if you win this shit again, I ain't coming back. All right, so the next day, everybody's waking up. Andreina's pretty much telling Lucinda and Andrea that her and Johnny had cuddled and she had kissed him on the date. Lucinda was shocked to hear that. She was shocked to hear that they actually kissed. Now, Justine, keep in mind, because Lucinda heard that, and Lucinda gonna state it to somebody soon. But Justine ends up telling the girls that she's excited. She wants to have some chats. So Isaiah ends up bringing Nicola a smoothie. They end up asking her, like, where y'all at romantically? And she's like, I mean, I'm trying to figure that out. But Andreina, she goes to Chris while he's brushing his teeth and tells, he ends up telling her that KK and Tyrique had kissed. And she's sitting there looking shocked. He said this I'm going to elaborate later on, but I truly believe he told her this. Not to tell her, just to tell her. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to elaborate in a minute. But Garbi is out there with Kendall, and they're on the dock, and they're getting to know each other and whatever. Y'all got cotton mouth like a mug. I've been talking all day, and it's catching up to me. My voice is going is going away from me. But they're talking about their biggest fears and whatever. He says his is divorce, hers is needles. They both don't have any tattoos. But when she said hers was needles, he said that's why you don't have Botox. I'm like, why would she have Botox? Like, just because she don't like needles doesn't mean that she wouldn't. If she liked needles, she would get Botox. I'm like, what do you, like, that rubbed me the wrong way. But she ends up asking what turns him on, and he says neck kisses. So he then asks her, what's your favorite sex position? She pauses. It was very awkward. And then she ends up laughing, pauses again, and she looks at him and she says, I mean, I don't know. And he was like, so you, she then says too, like, I don't really have sex. And he starts laughing. And she's like, no, I'm serious. And he ends up asking if she's a virgin, and she says yes. So he ends up asking, like, are you saving it for marriage or whatever? And she's like, no, it's nothing religious or anything. I just haven't found that person yet. But he tells her that he respects it. She likes the fact that he respects it and how he received it, because in the past, when she stated this to other guys, it didn't go well. But then they start talking about foods that they like to snack on. She likes corn dogs. He don't like them. They start laughing. We then move to Tyrique and Lucinda. And he's pretty much asking her how she's feeling, and she tells him that she kissed Mert. He asked, was it good? And she was like, yeah, he's a good kisser. So KK comes walking by, and Tyrique's like, what's up, sexy? He was like, you look so good. No wonder you take so long. And KK's eating it up, but she walks away. And as she's walking away, he's pretty much telling Lucinda how bad KK is. And Lucinda's like, I mean, your head clearly has turned at this point. And he was like, yeah, I didn't expect it to turn all the way. Like, I expected my head to be turning in here, but I didn't expect it to really turn all the way like this. And Lucinda asked him, like, do you see yourself getting back with Andreina? And he's like, she's sexy and I'm attracted to her. Like, we had good chats and whatever. Basically stating like he's still open to it. But Lucinda's like, I mean, she likes Johnny though. She kissed Johnny on the date. He was like, oh, I didn't know that. Remember that. But he then tells us that his head is kind of scrambled because it's out of the ordinary for him, because Tyrique normally can do what he wants to do, but the girls in here are amazing. He's actually enjoying his time with the girls. So we then get a scene with Nicola and Isaiah, and he's pretty much up there asking her where her head is at with them romantically. I already knew where this was going. And she was like, I mean, I think you're fun and I'm happy so far. And he's like, yeah, we were killing in the challenges. And she's like, yeah, I agree. So they start talking about them being competitive and whatever. But he then tells her essentially like, you're wonderful. And I knew the but was coming. And he says, but on an intimate level, it's just not really there. And he's like, I don't want to lead you on, which I respect the fact that he actually is doing this. And she's like, that's fine. She took it on the chin. And she's like, in her confessional, she's like, I wish that there was one guy that I connected with in here deeper, on a deeper friend level. And she said, like, again, this is happening again. And I'm like, damn, did this happen to her on her other show? Which I hate it for. I hate it for her. In my opinion, I don't feel like she's conventionally attractive, even though I'm not stating that she's not. Me personally, I don't particularly find her that, but there's somebody out here for everybody. And I do want her to find somebody. If she does, if this is her sole purpose really coming in here, I hope they do bring in somebody that would actually make sense for her. But she ends up telling us that she tells him not to worry and it's okay. She just needs to win. Like, I'm here to win and then I'll be happy. And I'm like, I hope she's being true. I do hope she's being true about that. I hope she actually is in here strictly to win and not in here to find love, but it's just stating this to kind of guard herself. Because I do feel bad if she is, because it's like, damn. But we get KK and Tyler Perry. She ends up asking him if he wants a cuddle. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. But he says no. And she asks, like, are you just not ready for that? And he says, nah, but I just want to talk to you about something. So he then starts talking about how he's a little bit upset about the thing with Tyrique. And she was like, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit pissed, too, that he told you before I got the chance to do it. So Chris is like, I mean, he essentially stated it because he felt guilty. And asked, like, essentially if she didn't feel comfortable coming to him and stating it. And she's like, no, I just wanted it to be a sit-down conversation. I actually wanted to sit down and talk to you about it. And she was like, I mean, I hadn't even told Andreina yet either. And Chris says she knows. And I said, yeah. She knows because you did that shit because you felt some type of way about it. And it's like you knew how it would look to Andreina because KK hadn't even told her yet. Because you already knew that she didn't know. So you only making KK look bad, and that's what you doing. And that's why I say I don't feel like he likes her, because like you just being messy for no reason. But he then states that he don't care that she did it. He says, I don't care that you did it, but what made me upset is the fact that we set a boundary of communication. First of all, you do care that she did it, because you literally just said you were upset about it. But not only that, him stating that we set a boundary for communication, me and my sister looked and said, okay, he's too busy trying to be ace. Because that's literally what it's giving. Because he then goes next and says, I had told you that I wanted you to explore and do whatever it is that you need. Did Ace not state that shit to Shelly whenever they was doing that shit with him? And I'm like, if that's the case, if you said that she can do what she needs to do, if she wants to go kiss somebody, she can do that. Y'all are not together. That's the whole thing. Y'all are not together. The way Chris is acting is the same way Andreina is about to act with Tyrique. But I'm like, y'all are not together, so she can do what she wants to do. And if that is kiss somebody, she can do that. Like, that's just really what it is. But he then says, just let me know. She says she understands. And she tells us that it feels like she's cheating on him because he essentially took it so well and it was nice. And it made her feel guilty. But she has to remember, too, like, I'm still single at the end of the day. I said, exactly. You're not doing nothing wrong. But she then tells him that he's still her number one. I said, no. But she then tells him that she wants him to flirt more with her. And I said, the fact that you're having to tell him this is proof that he don't really see it for you. Because if he really liked her like that, he would be flirting with her subconsciously. Because it's like, we all know how we get when we actually are really, really attracted to somebody and really, really like them. You just naturally flirt. That's just what happens. And the fact that he's not naturally doing that, come on. But she states that she would have rather it had been him kissing her instead of Tyrique. But we'll get to it. But we get Tyrique and Andreina. They go upstairs to have a conversation. And she ends up asking if he kissed KK. And he's like, yeah, I did. And she was like, didn't you think that it would be good to let me know? I said, but you didn't tell him about you kissing Johnny. Like, you kissed Johnny at the date and you kissed him in soul ties in y'all spot that y'all claim was y'all spot. But he said it happened after the duel. And she's like, I mean, that makes it worse. And he was like, I mean, are you going to let me finish? Because she cut him off. Are you going to let me finish? And she's like, sure. So he starts and she cuts him off yet again. And he's like, you're not going to let me finish? I'd have been acting the same way because, like, at this point, it's rude. Like you gonna ask him questions, let him answer it. Like let him answer the question. I feel like it's so that is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people cut me off. Like if I'm talking and you ask me a question, but if I'm talking, period, let me finish my statement. Like it's just respectful. But he then states that he was gonna tell her and wanted to tell her whenever he woke up, but by the time he woke up, she was gone. As we all know, she was with Johnny. But she then states that you kissed KK at my lowest point, feeling like shit. I was crying in front of you, and you go and kiss KK. I said, y'all are not dating. Like, what do you mean? Like, she jumping in too quick with these feelings. But Tyrique is like, I mean, it felt right to do. That's why I kissed KK. And she was like, doing that knowing that I felt like shit. Like, that's kind of crazy. And he was like, I mean, I apologize for the timing, but let's not do the whole, like, how could you do this? How could you do that when you kissed Johnny? So when was you going to tell me that? I said, exactly. Exactly. He's like, it's like we're all kissing other people. So what's the issue? He's not wrong. Everything he's stating is true because it's like, she ain't wrong for kissing Johnny, just like he ain't wrong for kissing KK, because y'all are not together. Like, I don't get what the whole conversation is for. But she says that's different. I said, how, Andreina? How? And he's like, that's double standards. It looked like it to me too. But she says, you know the situation. And he was like, what is that? And she was like, I mean, we have prior history too. And he's like, so how many people gonna come in here with history with you? I said, Tyrique, stop. But she then says, I mean, I'm hot. Like, what can I say? And he's like, yeah, you are hot. You are hot. You're so hot, baby. She got irritated. I'm like, what you irritated for? And she was like, that's messed up. But he then says, like, she got a little pattern going on. He's telling us this. Like, she got a little pattern going on. Like, there's no problem with both of us kissing other people. Like, I mean, we even at this point, you got one, I got one. She really got you up too at this point because she done kissed Johnny twice. You only kissed KK once. So if you asking me, she got the one up on you. But I mean, if you want to call it even, you can call it even. But she then states to him, like, how could we be a couple later on when at my lowest you doing that? Tyrique is like, I mean, if we were a couple, I wouldn't be looking at anybody else. I personally am the type of person that's very loyal. If we were together, you wouldn't have to worry about it, but we're not together. She gets up and is mad. I'm like, what you mad about? It's the fucking truth. Y'all are not together. I'm like, you look too good to be moving like this, Andreina, like this whole pick me shit. Somebody as bad as you should not be moving like this. But she tells us that she got options, and if he gonna behave like that, she don't give a shit. He don't give a shit. At this point, she gonna act the same. Then do what you got to do, Andreina. But Josh and Andrea, they're in soul ties. They love soul ties. They're always up there. But Josh ends up stating that he feels confident in their couple. She loves that fact that everybody seems to be scared. Who's scared? But they start talking about journaling and manifesting one in the show. She states that she's been more guarded this time around because of what happened the last time, as we all know, with her and Rob. And she's like, I need to be more selfish this time. And he's like, I mean, I feel the same way. I don't want to move too fast. Well, you need to stop calling her your girl. But she tells us, like, we're both super competitive. We feel like a power couple. And it would have to take somebody to really come in here and knock her off her feet to get away from Josh. But he tells her, I mean, I feel like we're in a good spot. Moving on. Justine and Tyler Perry. She states that she's been getting different vibes from other people. And he's like, probably because you intimidate people. Because you're like, you've won the show before and you're athletic. One thing about him, he always talking about somebody being intimidated. In this case, it could be true because Justine done won 2 versions of the show. Like at this point, they probably are sizing her up a little bit. But I don't think any woman in here, at least I don't think any woman or any man truthfully, no, I'm not going to say that. So I like to believe that most of these people in here are not that intimidated, but maybe some are. But she states like, I'm competitive. I don't play around. And he's like, yeah, we know. We know. But she then states like, so are you here for money? She's asking him that. He sits up in this woman's face and lies and says, I mean, money is money. Like I can get it anywhere. Yet you sitting here. Yet you sitting here. You barely left the show. Yet you back for a whole nother season. Like everybody online been stating, he here for the free housing. Like that's what it is. You swerving down that you can go get money and you could be outside hooping and shit. But you up here still on Love Island. There's a reason as to why you are. But he does that. He asks her, like, what's your goal coming back? And she's like, I mean, the relationship part has not really worked for me in this type of situation. We know. In this type of situation or on Perfect Match. But she's like, at this point, I'm focused on the game. And that's what I want to hear from you, Justine. Don't try and get in a relationship because these folks on this show, they playing with you. They know what to do. But she ends up asking, like, what's your longest relationship? He says 3 years. He's a lover boy. She's like, you look like a big teddy bear, gentle giant. He claims that's what he is. And he tells us that he really likes KK, but is giving him something to think about, him and Justine. And he's feeling her. I'm like, yeah, because you know that she can win. Like, let's call a spade a spade. But she tells him that she was looking forward to meeting him. I'm like, don't gas him up. Don't do that. But KK, she goes to pull Andreina. Tyrique is watching. So Andreina's like, I mean, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. KK's like, yeah, I just wish that I would have been able to tell you first. And she tells her everything was just happening so fast, but Tyrique is just fun and flirty. And Andreina's like, yeah, he is. KK's like, I mean, essentially, I don't really know if there's something really there, but Tyrique comes to pull KK. And she goes with him. Now, whenever they're going by, Andreina's walking, she's walking away, but she's telling KK, like, good luck to you. You might need it with Tyrique. Tyrique is sitting over there at the fire pit, and he hears it and is like, what you say? She said, I told her that she might need some good luck with you. He's like, what you doing? Why are you saying that? But Tyrique and KK, they sit down, and he ends up talking to her and asking her, like, why you been hiding from me? And she's like, hold on, y'all. I'm losing my note. Hold on. She asked him, like, why did you tell Chris that we had kissed? And he was like, I mean, I just didn't want nobody in the dark. Like, I'm just going to keep it real. And he apologized if he jumped the gun too early and, like, kind of beat her to the punch. Like, Tyrique going to own when he's wrong. I don't think he was wrong. But if he made her feel some type of way about it, he'll own where he might have made her feel some type of way about it. But she ends up asking, like, what is his game plan? Are you just going to keep trying to fuck me with your eyes? And he's like, do you like it? And she's like, yeah, I do. And then she's like, is that all you want to do at this point? And he's like, I mean, ideal, I would actually want to be in a couple with somebody that I actually like. And there's really only 2 people in here giving me romantic vibes, and you're one of those people. So she's like, I mean, it makes me feel like if somebody else would come in here that could compete better than me, I'll be fucked at this point. And the cameramen are so messy. Because when she stated that, they panned that camera right over to Justine. As we all know, Chris just stated essentially like Justine could be an option. And we know Justine can compete. She done won twice. Even though the first show was not really a game show, but this one was. It was just so funny to me. But she's like, I'm not trying to go home. It's 250,000 on the end, and I'm trying to get that shit. And he's like, straight up. But she tells him in his language that she fancies him. And he's like, yeah, I fancy you too. And she's like, but I just need a little bit more energy. And he's like, I mean, I'll turn it on for you. And Tyrique then tells us that he feels like she appreciates what he got going on, but he's going to have to do what she needs him to do. Give her more energy. So he pulls her in, and they sitting there. They look good together. They do look good together. But she talks about how her ass was sweating or whatever, and he ends up rubbing it off. But we get Ariana. She comes walking in there. She look good. The fit she got on, she look good. But she ends up pulling everybody to the fire pit, and she tells them that they're going to be competing in the first couples challenge of 2025. Everybody's excited, but Justine is sitting there single. Ariana's like, we got to change that. So she has the girls line up there with her in order from how they placed from the first challenge. And obviously Solène and Justine, they're at the end because they didn't compete. So she tells them that they're standing in the ranking from their challenge for that reason. And an extra girl, there's an extra girl, and she lets them know we got to even out them numbers, aka we got to bring out a guy. And guess who she brings out? Toby. Y'all let me know in my comments that Toby and Tyrique were actually childhood best friends. I didn't know that. But Tyrique, he's happy. You see him smiling like that's his friend. Toby, he's back for a 4th time. He said 3rd time. I want to say this is his 3rd time. But I don't know. Has he done more? I remember him from last season, but I don't remember him from other shows. So maybe this is his 3rd time. But he played soccer as well. He said football, but we know that's soccer for the British people. But Tyrique is smiling, like I stated. Justine was like, you've been working out, because she obviously knows who he is from last season. But Ariana ends up asking, like, do you know anybody besides Justine? He's like, that's my boy Ty. Johnny over there looking like, you don't see me over here? We just did the whole season together. And he's like, oh, shit, I didn't even see you. But he also knows Lucinda as well. But Ariana reminds him of him getting cut earlier in season 1 after that duel that he had. And she's like, this time around, you got $250K that you fighting for. So she ends up asking him why he came back. And he's like, the money first. And he's like, oh, wait, no, love, then the money. I said, don't lie. Don't lie. And that's the thing. Like I said, with this particular show, if you come on here stating that you want money first and mainly, I ain't mad at you, because that's what it's called Love Island games. Like, we all know you're going to get in here and have your fun, but like, you really want that money. But Ariana tells him, you're going straight into the first couples challenge of the season, but we got to get you coupled up. So he gets to choose from the girls. And she lets him know they're lined up in order from how they placed in the first challenge. Lets him know Justine and Solène have not competed. But you already know Justine is a reigning champion. Like, she don't win this shit before. So she lets him know all but one is in a couple. And you still can choose them. But Toby chooses to go for Andrea. I'm like, you're crazy. Because I'd have went straight for Justine. There's no questions. Why would you not go for Justine? Like, she won the show. Like, what? But he goes to Andrea. Josh is looking all flushed. His cheeks get red. And he's like, I mean, all the girls are beautiful, but this is Toby. All the girls are beautiful, but I went with somebody near the top. I'm like, Justine literally won. Garbi is the top. But then again, I'm like, Justine is literally the top of the top. She's won the show. What you mean? But Lucinda's like, I mean, damn, Josh can't even catch a break. But Tyrique is like, Andrea's over there fuming because she did not look happy to be with him, honestly. But Andrea says, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm speechless at this point because I done been in 3 couples at this point in the last 48 hours. But now all the other couples, they stay locked up so they competing together. But Ariana asked Josh how he feels. And he's like, I mean, Andrea's a beautiful girl. Like, she's good at games. I knew I would have a target on my back, but I'm not too worried about it. But Josh is with Justine, which is not a bad couple at all. On paper, they are the strongest couple there. They're both extremely athletic. But Justine, she's thrilled because she already knows Josh is athletic because they're friends. They've been friends prior to this season as they are alumni of the show and have been. They if you want to call OGs of Love Island USA, they definitely those. Season 2 and season 3, like, let's keep it real. They were Love Island before it came on Peacock. They were on cable television. But Ariana then says, like, it's a strong pair. Look like a strong pair to me. And it is. It's the strongest one. But the challenge is Sunday Night Football themed. I loved it. But Johnny ends up asking Andreina, can you catch? And she's like, shit, I don't think so. I'm like, here we go. But Ariana tells them they're going to be playing in 2 heats. 4 couples in each heat. They're going to split them down the middle. And the first heat is Garbi and Kendall, Andrea and Toby, Nicola and Isaiah, KK and Chris. They're in the first heat. Second heat is Andreina and Johnny, Lucinda and Ty, Solène and Mert, Justine and Josh. That second heat is the more stacked heat, if you ask me. Yeah, I think so. But Ariana ends up stating this challenge is a big deal because America will soon get to vote for their favorite couple, and the couple with the fewest votes will be vulnerable. But by performing well in this challenge, you can save yourself from the vote, and it will determine the first power couple of the season, and they will get a power that could turn the game on its head. Definitely. But the game is called Playing the Field. They get to compete. Like I said, each heat is played in 2 rounds. Well, no, I didn't say that, but it is played in 2 rounds. The goal is to score as many points as possible, and the most points, is it points? Regardless, the most posts, I think it is the most points. I don't know why I wrote most points. I've been talking all day. I'm tired, y'all, but y'all get the objective. You watch the show. But they have to pump fuel into these girls' helmets, and they have to carry them across these tires, and they have to then go fill up the goalpost at the end to get the footballs up. So they got 10 minutes to do it. They start. Garbi was missing the whole tube at one point. KK was pouring the best. KK showed out. Like, she really showed out in both rounds. Her and Chris, they were currently in the lead. Isaiah was out there moving people's tires to make it more difficult. Everybody's now doing the same thing, wasting time if you asking me. But KK and Chris, they end up barely beating Kendall and Garbi, but they did it in that first round. The second round, they took the tires away and put hurdles out there. KK was tearing it up. So her and Chris, they ended up winning both of those heats. Now, the second heat, or both of those rounds, the second heat, Mert, he tried to do the same thing that Isaiah was doing. The only issue is he tried to do it immediately. You got Solène over there like, I need water. Solène had me laughing this whole fucking challenge. That girl is hilarious, yo. She's like, I need water. And he's sitting over here getting the tires and shit. She started picking up the the water that's on the ground and start trying to. I said, this chick is hilarious. But he finally gets over there and starts pumping it. But Andreina and Josh, they were kind of in the lead at one point, but Josh and Justine took over and they ended up winning. Now, Solène, she had me cracking up because she was falling over tires and shit. But then we get to the second round where they removed the tires and put the hurdles out there. Lucinda got the wrong strategy essentially but they all started doing it too though, because she's sliding on her back trying to get under the hurdles while carrying the water. So when she's doing that, sliding on her back, the water's obviously gonna go backwards. So I'm like, why would y'all do that? I'd have slid on my stomach, and I'd have been on my stomach before I even got to the hurdle, to where I can kind of like just slide myself forward instead of like doing all of that to where it's falling all over. But Justine was doing the same. Justine was dropping water everywhere too. But Solène, she cracked me up. She finishes pouring hers into the goalpost at one point, and she tries to turn around and run, knowing the shit is slippery, and that girl hits the ground. I choked laughing. I was laughing so hard I was choking. But Solène and Mert end up finishing and filling theirs the fastest in that round. So I was like, shit, they was over there slipping and sliding and acting a fool, but she got the shit done. But they get their results back at the villa. So everybody goes back to the villa. Josh gets a text to reveal the results. Tyrique actually gets the results. So he gets the ones from the first heat as he was in the second heat. So the top two couples that finished the fastest was KK and Chris and Garbi and Kendall. No shock there to me. Andrea gets the second text for Heat 2s, and Justine and Josh and Solène and Mert. Oh, I don't want to call him Mert. Mert, they were the top two for the second Heat. Justine and Josh didn't surprise me. Solène and Mert didn't, but did at the same time because I was expecting Johnny. But then again, when Solène won that second one, I'm like, I guess it. So, Andrea, Toby, Lucinda, Ty, Nicola, and Isaiah, and Johnny, and Andreina, they are vulnerable, and they face the vote from America. And at this point, I'm like, vote off Isaiah and Nicola, honestly, because Isaiah is background noise. Nicola, yes, I enjoy her competitiveness, but Andrea and Toby, they got to stay because Andrea, I mean, you got to have that type of, they got a storyline. Lucinda is hilarious. Tyrique got to stay the entire show. He already got a storyline too. Nicola and Isaiah, background noise. Johnny and Andreina, storyline. Johnny got to stay. So we find out the power couple is KK and Tyler Perry. But I was like, he got to get away from KK. We got to get him away because he cannot touch that money. But he ends up getting a text telling him that they got a big decision to make. And they got to choose a safe couple to make vulnerable. I said, that is messy. Messy. I'm like, why are they doing this? But they end up going to deliberate on which couple to save. And they start pretty much going down on what they think the public would actually pick. And KK feels like Garbi and Kendall would be the favorites because they've been coupled up. Garbi, absolutely. But Kendall, no ma'am. No ma'am. Mert and Solène, they're a friendship couple. Justine and Josh, they worked really well together. But KK's like, I mean, I just want to make sure that somebody's vulnerable that will likely go home so they don't come back for me because then they're going to be mad. But they ended up choosing Solène and Mert to make vulnerable. And she's like, why? She's like, we sleep next to each other. I mean, I thought we was friends. And Chris is like, I mean, it just came down to connections and y'all just got coupled up today. And she's like, yeah, I mean, we got a good connection. He's like, y'all just a friendship couple. Like, that's literally what it came down to. But she started clapping, saying, congratulations. But it's time to vote. And like I told y'all, Isaiah and Nicola, they need to go. I'm going to vote with y'all right here. And I'm going to do this every time we have a vote. So let me get my app up. Hold on real quick. All right, so we got a couple to save. So we're going to figure out which couple to save. Because I don't even know. But let me see. Because I really want to vote out a couple to send home. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. So we got Andrea and Toby, Andreina and Johnny, Lucinda and Tyrique, Nicola and Isaiah, and Solène and Mert. Hold on. Like, why can't I scroll? Okay, so I feel like Andrea and Toby, I don't think they will get voted out, but they're probably going to be near the bottom. Johnny and Andreina, I don't think they're going to get voted out because from what everybody's been stating in the comments, everybody's team Johnny. Like, they love how he was with her in the challenge. So I feel like they're going to have votes. So I don't feel like I need to vote for them, even though I want them to stay. Lucinda and Tyrique, I feel like they're going to be good. But then again, you never know, because I saw some people saying online they don't like how Tyrique talked to Andreina. I don't feel like he talked to her any type of way that was disrespectful. These two, I just don't see them getting votes. Like Nicola and Isaiah, I don't see them getting votes. So I'm not too worried. Solène and Mert, I feel like Solene's definitely going to get votes because she's funny. The Mert situation, I don't know. But my vote is going to be Tyrique and Lucinda. I'm giving them my vote. So y'all tell me in the comments, who did y'all vote for? Let me know, and we'll see on Sunday. And I will see y'all then. But like the video if you haven't already. Share it, subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all then. Peace.